I did ayahuasca, and like going from like the hot chick to hot mama, I can be the rock hardest body in the world and still feel bad about myself.
Straight out the rock. We got a great guest today.
Indeed we do. The lovely UFC mama.
6-time World MMA Award Ring Card of the Year. We've seen her in Maxim. We've seen her in Playboy, FHM, Sports Illustrated, UFC's most iconic ring girl, model, entrepreneur, and all-around fitness enthusiast. But more importantly, mum. The best title of all.
Yes.
Arianny Celeste, welcome,
Yes, welcome to the show.
Do you have a clap here? Oh, my God.
Get a clap
Thank you,
going.
thank you.
Arianny, it's great to have you here.
Iconic. Good word. Good word.
She's already
She really
told me.
started it. She
Yes.
was the one. You know, you were the first one. I think everybody knew in the world, right? Like you were like really put it on the map, and obviously with the UFC growth and growing with that organization over the years, I think all of us dudes have seen you a few times. So.
Just a few. Yes, I've been in the game for a while, and I had no idea that UFC was going to change my life like that. I just literally was going to UNLV here in Vegas. I'm like, I need to make some money, and my agent sent me to the casting, and it was just all up from there.
The rest was
The rest was
history.
history.
18 years, right?
18 years ago, yeah.
You've seen the UFC truly evolve.
Yes.
Obviously, you've been a massive part of it. You've got, you know, what they call you, the
UFC mama.
The UFC mama.
Hot mama.
You've truly paved the way for so many girls to get into this. Obviously, you and Brittany this year both retired. And
Yeah.
congratulations
Thank
on an incredible career.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I love the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're definitely
It's like
missed.
peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah,
Go
totally.
wrong.
Peas and carrots.
But you guys retired the same time, correct?
Slightly. Like she retired like officially. I'm still doing events with them.
Yeah.
So I'm not like officially retired, but yeah.
Right.
I've slowed down a lot. I'm not doing the ring card girl stuff.
Got you.
So.
So she's semi-retired, Jay. Right?
Semi.
We got to speak to somebody at Wikipedia because it said retired on there. So
yeah.
we'll get into that
They
and
also
change some details.
call me Penelope, which is not my real name, I swear.
Yeah. So that
Where did that come from?
yeah,
It's on my Wikipedia as well.
it's a full-on name there.
I love that name though.
It's
But
a great name.
Yeah.
It's like Penelope Hernandez or something like that. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's very exotic.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so going back to something you touched on earlier. So you were in UNLV and you got a casting for the UFC. So take us back to that and let's just talk about your journey through the early days of the UFC.
Yeah, and what year was that?
I believe it was 2006. I was 21. I was as shy as could be. I just got my boobs done because I literally I had a subscription to Maxim and FHM. I thought the girls on the covers were like the coolest thing and like the hottest. I was like, one day I'm gonna be just like them. So I got my boobs done and when I was 21, and then slightly after that, I had the casting, which I walked into a room with Dana White and Craig Brassari. I believe that's it. And I came in with the uniform and they asked me, do you know what UFC is? And I'm like, not really. I had seen like a commercial or two and I was like taken back, like, what is this? And that's it. I got the casting. Yeah.
We went wrong. We didn't
like
get
a
boobs.
baby face, but I don't even know how I got the job because I just look so young. I just remember looking so young. Like big
Baby
old
faced.
cheeks. Yeah.
Baby faced. I remember those days.
Yeah.
How long have you guys known each other?
Long time.
Time.
Like
Long
double digits?
days.
Like 20 something years.
Wow. So before UFC?
Yeah, well, I was hip to her before.
What is hip to her?
I have no clue.
I mean, I was an admirer of yours, and then,
okay.
you know, we're mutual friends. But yeah, we've known each other a long time. And obviously she's been the face of the UFC, you know, for a very long time. And we've been friends a long time, and, you know, we both kind of came up in Vegas, and, you know, it's great to see, you know, friends doing well, and she just crushed it and got that FHM cover and got that Maxim cover and got all those covers, right? So I love seeing people manifesting their reality and seeing that come to fruition. So Obviously, always been a friend and always liked seeing your journey as you've been going.
you, J-Rock.
Obviously, yeah.
I feel the same about you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Why are you stumbling with your words like you're getting all shy over there? It's like you.
I'm seeing through your soul right now.
Yes.
Yeah, you got all shy there for a second. I
Yeah.
don't
Well,
know.
she's nerve wracking being around her.
Almost like
sometimes,
you
know?
went back to like your palm days when we used to just like
Yeah.
make fun of each other. And
Oh, tell me these stories. I want to know about these.
It's mostly her making fun of me, and I take it on the chin. Yeah.
I need this ammunition, so you got to tell me something. The old palm days. Actually, that's when you and I first met.
Really?
Yes, I was in Scotch 80.
Okay,
And,
yes.
And you had all the girls were on the table. I was there with the monster guys. Hans.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was there? Hans Wallenkamp. And we took
The
a picture.
dingo.
I tried to find that picture. Of course, it's lost in cyberspace somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
It would have been great to pull out for the show.
It might have been on MySpace.
Yeah. I was actually trying to find some
Could
old
have
photos
been, actually.
too. I've drowned like 6 phones in that period of time, so I've lost some
that's
photos.
The worst.
The old BlackBerry had some good stuff. On it.
Yeah.
The old BlackBerry I used to
The
have on
old
them too.
BlackBerry.
But yeah, so you and I met there and we had a quick little conversation. It's like one of them surface level, hi, how are you? You know, and same for me. And then I signed the door back there in the Palms. Somebody's calling me right now, so unprofessional. But anyways, as you said, welcome to the show. It's relaxed. It's just us having fun, and you got to give me some blackmail stories of Mr. J Rock, okay?
I'll try to think of one.
Think of one. I think you have a lot more than one. The old Palms days started out.
The good old days.
The good old
Yeah.
days.
We were winning championships back then.
Yeah, it was the place. But going back to the show and the UFC, that's such an incredible story from seeing the evolution. How has it been for yourself being there for 18 years and seeing that evolution from you walking in as a 21-year-old, you know, shy girl to now becoming a global star within the organization? And what's been the biggest takeaways from just seeing that evolution from your perspective?
Seeing the evolution, it just makes me really proud to be a part of that and a little part of history, because before the girl fighters were there, it was all about us, and I think we just dominated. We had so much fun. We did every signing that we could. It was just a very fun time of my life that I'll never forget. Like traveling the world. I think I was gone every weekend for 7 years straight. And at the time, I loved it. I'm like, I'm going here, I'm going there. Like, I never thought I would be out of Vegas, period. So for me to be out of Vegas, traveling the world, it's just been a dream come true. And what they've done with the UFC, obviously, it's incredible. So
7 years every weekend. I mean, that must have made it
Every
hard for you
weekend.
to.
Wait, dude, that made no sense. Start again.
Well, no, it's a long time.
Oh,
I mean,
you mean
7 years
on the
every
road,
single
7,
weekend.
yeah.
I mean, it's be hard to like carry on relationships and stuff like that. I mean, did you mix a little business with pleasure and date some fighters, or how did that all? I mean, because you know how it works. Like you end up hooking up with people that are closest to you.
Yeah.
Right. That's just how it
Yeah.
works. So give us the
Definitely had
goods.
a few of those, but nothing too serious. I feel like I realized quick on that the fighters are very much about themselves, and they have to like really focus. And I honestly, I dated people, but it was really hard because I was gone all the time. And
Yeah.
plus you throw in like probably the hottest guys, like their like bodies are chiseled, and like it takes a very confident man to be like, okay, bye babe, I'll see you when you get back. You know,
Flex
so
knows about chiseled hard bodies.
Also living on the road too, yes, unfortunately. Yeah.
So I would say I'm good at a lot of things. Relationships I'm good at, but they weren't successful for me in the past.
Yeah, but that's also as you're younger and developing. I think we have to
of
go
course.
through,
You're
you know,
also, like,
the
partying
good, the
and having
bad.
fun. So
Yeah.
like, I mean, you're not really thinking about that
No.
when you're traveling the world with the
Yeah.
UFC. So
Yeah, trying to date and travel and work on your brand and everything else that's going on is so tough. I lived my life, you know, before.
yeah,
Living on airplanes. You know,
Living on
that- Just
airplanes.
that part is tough.
Yeah.
Right.
so tough.
And it's like a long distance relationship, even though you might be in the same town.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially back when you're partying too, because right, you're hungover and you're getting on flights, and then you're getting hungover again, getting on the next flight home. It's like it's definitely a cycle.
Yeah, I remember one time I was in England, and I was so hungover. I was just puking in the trash, and my girlfriend was also a UFC girl. I won't tell who it is 'cause she was crazy that day, but she. They were saying, oh, if she can't hold down her liquid, she's not going to get on the plane. And she just like, we need to go back to America. I am not doing this. And like, she got in their face, like they were going to arrest us. And I was like, please don't do this. I just want to get home.
I just want to go
my
home.
Bed.
You couldn't tell us the name, but what does it rhyme with?
Her name's Allie.
Oh, there we go.
Bam!
Like, I just give up. I can't.
She's been
think.
out of the game for a
That's
while.
a hard one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. She probably just threw us off the scent.
Yeah.
So did you guys like have a, like obviously with Brittany, you guys are like besties, and like
Yeah.
all the other girls, like did you guys have, was it kind of similar experiences for all of you kind of having this like girls club and like kind of attacking the world together?
Yeah, it was. I mean, at first, Brittany and I, we didn't like each other. Well, I didn't like her because, she's like coming in fresh off of, what was it, WC. And I remember the first day she met me, we were at the Palms. I think it was right after World MMA Award. She's like, by the way, I'm going to get it next. And I was like, who are you? Like, I was like very like, bitch. So, but then she just grew on me and we became like, so close. Like we've been through so much together. So it's like not even like a friendship. It's like a sisterhood now. Mm-hmm. The other girls, obviously I become close to them, but not as close as her. And everyone kind of like moves on. If they don't work for UFC, they move on. They're having families and all that. So I've definitely kept in touch with a lot of them, mm-hmm. but Brittany and I we're sisters. So yeah.
What are some of the memorable stories that you can talk about?
Brittany?
Some good stories that you two getting into some shenanigans on the road.
Oh my gosh. There's a lot. Probably too many. I got to discuss with her the ones we're allowed to talk about. Well, there was the time I got arrested. But anyways, we won't bring that up.
You said it. So what about this arrest? What was it about?
Okay, well, it was like straight out of a movie. It was after a night out. Me and my ex at the time were got in this big old fight. And it was crazy. It was not fun at the time. It was very scary. But anyways, the cops got called and we both accused each other of DV and we ended up both in jail, in the same exact jail, which was I was in one seat and then the other side was like the male side. And he's looking at me and like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like,
Fuck
don't
you.
look at me. Don't look at me. And then I somehow got a hold of Dana and he got me out of jail, and I went straight from jail to work.
Wait, straight to work?
Yeah.
Wow.
I hadn't slept all night. I was crying all night. It was crazy.
What was the
Susie was in the
event?
car. I think it was UFC 100. It was like a big one.
Big one. Yeah.
And I think there was like paparazzi waiting for me outside of the jail, and somehow like the bodyguards were like, don't take pictures. And then I got into the car and Susie, my friend and makeup artist, she did my makeup and I went straight to work.
Whilst you were driving?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I made it to the main event. And I think somehow the word had already gotten out. And I remember I was just like shaking. Oh my God, what a night. And I got up on stage and people were like standing ovation me. I'm like, oh, that makes me feel better. Yeah.
But that's
It was
another
crazy.
thing. That's another thing to mention, right? Like, because obviously you're in the public eye, right?
Yeah.
So when you have crazy blowout fights or certain things happen, like everybody finds out about it, right? Especially in this world of social media. I would think that is also makes it a lot harder to date and just do normal stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
And add in paparazzi.
Yeah. So it's hard to date, but I'm a true lover at heart. I still believe in love. And yeah, I'm here. I'm happy.
Well, this show now, you better believe there's going to be so many people sliding in your DMs.
Oh my
gosh. Wait a minute. Single? Sorry in advance.
Oh,
We have a global fan base, so we might you might have all kinds of languages in the DMs, and you might have to translate.
okay,
But
perfect.
yeah, but going back to the paparazzi stuff, you know, when did that start? When did the fame truly kind of hit you?
I think it started as soon as I started working for UFC because they had like forums and all those things that would talk about not only the fighters but the girls. And, you know, I'm freshly 21. I really didn't feel like a woman until I was like 24, 25. That's when I started working out, really taking care of myself. And so it was a very weird time, like very insecure time of my life. I remember Dana White coming to me at a show and he was like, can you slow down a little bit? Like, he was so nice. He was like, you're doing great, but can you slow down a little bit? I just remember I was so nervous. I wanted to walk the fastest that I could. And so I did that. And then he had to tell me, but he did it in the nicest way. And I didn't really feel confident until I started working out and I did the cover of Playboy butt naked. So, yeah.
Wow, how was that?
I seen it.
You seen it.
I seen it.
I haven't.
Oh
Because my wife watches the show. I have
It
not.
it was my pleasure. Indeed.
Well, it was like a dream come true because, like I said, I always looked up to the beautiful women, and I just love beauty. I love beauty. I look up to it, and I was turning into one of those girls, and I just felt the most confident. I took I think 3 months of my life, and I really did weights and everything else, and I ate a lot of protein, and I felt really good about myself. So I was walking around. There was probably a crew of like 15 people. It was in a mansion in Malibu, like the ocean. Like, it couldn't be a better setting for me. I'm like, I love water, and like I was just running around naked, like no problem.
More
Sounds
DMs,
awesome.
more
Yeah.
DMs being sent right now.
Yeah, they had champagne. They're like, if you need some champagne to loosen up. I was like, no, I'm good. I just was fine with it.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done a lot of bikini shoots and stuff like that, so it was very similar to that. Just no bikini top. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I felt good. And yeah.
I think
The
to
rest
get to
is
the
history.
confidence level, like you said, is really important.
Yeah.
I definitely work out so I can look good naked.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the things. It's definitely one of my goals in working out. It is.
Yeah.
To look
It always
good
has
naked.
to look good naked.
Thank you. Thankfully, I have not been part of that conversation.
You know I look good naked.
We can imagine.
Pretend. I will pretend. Jeez, you throw me off with the whole naked thing.
Yeah.
I had another question, and it's just gone. I've got
Yeah.
J-Rock in my head, just walking
Stop
past
it.
me in the buff. Yeah, it's not an image that I want to have rolling on my head right now. But going back to like the lot of press and all the social media and stuff like that. Listen, you've got a lot of love.
And social media was
Yes.
like growing and
Yeah.
becoming a thing while this all
2009
happened.
was the beginning of Instagram, I believe. So that's when everything, and the more popular you get, the more people are watching you, and the more people are talking about you. And sometimes as a woman, you see all these nice things, but you only focus on the bad.
That's what I was getting at.
And the,
Yeah.
the bad
That's
can
what I was
only be
getting
like
at.
one or two things, and I remember looking up the forums and really getting in my head and not feeling good about myself and doing stupid shit to my body
Really?
because of it. Yeah.
Oh, it's hard to deal
Plastic
with all
surgery that was
hard to deal with that stuff.
unnecessary and that I regret, but made me who I am now, and I'm healthy and happy and back to the gym and
I love it.
taking care of myself.
Isn't it crazy? Because obviously, me doing my world tour, you've got the fans that are always going to be behind you, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
They're always there in support. Even if you have an issue, they're there in support.
Yeah.
Injuries, whatever else. But then you have the guys, mainly guys, that will always
got a lot of guys.
will
Yeah.
just attack for no reason. And
Yeah.
being a girl that's in the spotlight in a bikini, as that's your living and that's your profession, it's got to be hard for you to read these things at a very young age as well. And at that time, I'm sure, looking at
Yeah.
the timeline where we've spoke about, trying to find that inner confidence, and you're battling what you're reading, and then you're looking at the mirror. It's like, man, I'm trying my best here.
Yeah.
How difficult were them times to go through? And was that, a hard period of your life?
It was good and bad. I think I masked a lot of it with the partying, and I was very much in my ego. So the good things that were said were like, I'm the shit. What? Fuck those people. I remember getting drunk and just like talking shit back to them, and it was very unnecessary. But
It's always necessary.
yeah, I've done a lot of like mental health work since then. So I feel like even if people are going to say things like that to me now, it doesn't affect me. You know, I'm a woman. I'm confident. I'm happy with myself. I know I'm not perfect, but I'm proud of myself. You know, like I'm a mom. I might have loose skin here and there, but like I'm me. And like I'm just happy with who I am.
I love that. You know, and
yeah.
you said something interesting also that, you know, I mean, you were feeling insecure, right? I think you're a very beautiful woman, always have been, lovely personality as well. And so, like, there's a lot of people out there who are also feeling these things. And for somebody like yourself, who is a freaking model, you know, to be feeling those type things, it also shows like what social media is doing to people and making them feel like and comparing and comparison and all these type things. And I think there's a lot of young women who feel a lot like that. And I think there's something to be said about yourself. Again, you're very beautiful. So, you know, even you have these feelings, you know, and we're all human and we all have these type feelings. And I feel like sometimes because when they see people in media and they see these type things, they forget that these are humans that have feelings and, you know, are going through certain things. So there's definitely in our culture, like you're seeing people just look past the real human.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you found that for yourself. I think we all have to kind of look within and be happy in ourselves. And after we find that, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. You know, it's like, I don't listen to any criticism at this point anymore because I know who I am. I love myself. It took me a long time to love myself.
Yeah.
You know, but now that I'm here, it's like the criticism doesn't matter. But as we're younger, getting those things, I was definitely same emo, like feeling different things about those, about that. But the journey is the journey, and we have to go through those things to become the people that we are now.
Exactly.
Mental health, you mentioned.
Mental health.
We have.
Shout out to my therapist.
Yeah.
Shout out.
You know, you gotta put shout out the therapist. Sorry. I missed that. It bounced off the wall a few times. And by the way, just for the fans to know this, Arianny said, "Flex, please speak in the best English possible." I might have to ask you a few times to repeat yourself. So with me being deaf right now and with the accent, I don't know how loud I'm speaking or how.
You're doing great. Yeah, it's not bad.
Just right.
Thank
Yeah.
you. This is my best English accent.
Good.
Going back to mental health, you're a person that's a big advocate for mental health. Can you share any of the daily practices, routines that you do to keep you kind of steadfast in this new version of yourself?
Okay. So speaking of new version of myself, I was going through a rough time the last like year or two, and I've never been a religious person, but I was like, you know what? I've done it all. I've done hypnotherapy, ayahuasca, regular therapy, EMDR. I've done it all, and it's helped, but I've never gone to church, and I've never been a church person because I was raised Catholic, and I always felt weird in the Catholic Church. So I decided to go to a Christian church, and I felt so amazing after. And they used modern things that are happening in the world with Bible verses and music. And they just taught me that it's okay to not be okay. And I just fell in love with the church. And now I'm going every Sunday if I'm home. So that's one thing I do. I downloaded the Bible app and I read a verse every morning. There's also plans on there. So if you like to read, you can, if you're going through something, like I did a lot of like healing and forgiveness plans. So you read every morning for like 5 minutes. But I also have like my meditation apps. So I use the Chopra app. And that has anywhere from 5 minutes to 20-minute meditations. And they're guided. I'm not like the greatest meditation person because I like my mind wanders and I'm like, okay, I should be doing this. So the guided meditation, and then again, you always take something good with you throughout the day. And I feel like those 5-10 minutes of my day every morning, I focus on myself. It just completely changes the day, the week, the day, everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
I do similar, and I like guided meditations as well. So it just kind of like I can just focus on that voice and kind of go through. But taking control of your morning is so important, you know, and like not going right to social media, not going right into stressful, news stories, because that's all we get right now is all this
Oh, yeah.
negativity.
It's totally bad.
Like I try to do exactly the same thing, no phone, at least the first 30 minutes, and go into, I have a couple daily books that I do, and I read some of those passages. But it's really important, and I love to hear that, and also that, you've come closer to God. I think our relationship with God is really important, and finding that.
Yeah.
I was also Catholic. I was an altar boy, right?
Okay.
And I started going to a couple churches here. I'm not sure which one is it, City of Light or
Central.
Okay. And I
I've
thought
heard
the same
of City
thing.
of Lights. It's good things.
Yeah. And it was just a lot. I tried to make him come with me, actually.
Yeah.
You have to make
I
me
tried to make
come.
you-
We'll
come.
get you to come.
I tried to get you to come.
It's just I'm a dad of two, and,
Yeah.
and Saturday and Sunday is my
Yeah.
I call it family day. But
That's his church.
I have been, and you know this, I've asked a few of my friends who are involved with church, I was like, guys, can you get an early service? Because when I lived in Tennessee, you had services that were kicking off at like 7 a.m.,
Oh, wow.
6:30 for the
Whoa.
early birds. They were doing like 4 services a day, and they were packed.
Wow.
Everyone was packed. And I fell in love with church in Tennessee. It was a completely different version that I grew up to, because I grew up with the whole stand up, sit down,
Yeah,
wood
yeah,
seats,
yeah.
on your knees, up, down.
Yeah. Praying on your knees. Yeah.
Yeah, I was also
Yeah.
a little bit of a
Yeah.
singer back in the day. When,
Oh, really?
Yeah, before the old nutsack dropped, I went from to, oh, okay, this guy's gone. Next, rinse and repeat. But
Good.
that's a story for another time. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
He's a man of many talents. He talks to birds, too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's-
They talk back?
you know- Stop. We're not taking this podcast in that direction. But yes, I talk to birds. Don't listen to this guy.
Okay.
No. But we, I had a massive kind of pouring into my heart when I was there, because I was around a lot of people that were just so abundant with their faith, and I was the guy who was like, I'm so new to this. I have my own. It's guided me to everything I've done. But being around some, these incredible people that just had such energy to them and were just openly talking about their faith.
Yeah.
I wasn't around that when I lived in LA and when I was living in Reno. When I moved to Tennessee, it was just a whole different world. At the time, I was dating a girl that's dad was a youth pastor. Great guy. Unfortunately, passed away. But he was a great guy that at that point in time that poured into me as well. And I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I've traveled around the United States, moved, shall I say, around the United States. And every state that I've been to, I've learned something new, that I've taken with me and carried on in my life. But Tennessee, to me, was probably my most, I say, religious experience, because I would walk into church and it was just like, no matter if the band was playing or if just people were congregating, it was just this energy. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
It's
mean?
a feel good energy.
Yeah.
It's definitely feel good, because I went to Catholic church, right?
Yeah.
Same thing, really strict, really, and when I went to this church and they're like rocking, right? When I came in, everybody's clapping and dancing. It's just I wish it was like that for me as a kid, and I could have experienced church in that kind of way, because it was so strict for me as a kid. And like, if I messed around, my dad was like grabbing my ear and like twisting it really hard, like, calm down.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't,
If you
it wasn't
coughed.
rock and roll, that's for sure.
Yeah, you coughed
Yeah.
in my church, you would be like,
Yeah, I bring Raiden, and he just sits there. He's like looking at the band, and he does pretty well. He's
and this is your son. Let's
my son.
set the floor to the biggest achievement of your life, right?
Great name.
Amazing.
Thank you.
How old is Raiden, right?
He's gonna be 4 in a month. He's
goodness.
the best thing ever. I've always wanted to be a mom, so this is, like you said, it's the biggest dream of mine, and I love it.
You talk a lot about your son, which is amazing. You've traveled
my
with
best
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that. Anyways, I don't want to go all over the place. I don't know how much you want to talk about your child or not, but it's great to see, from me looking from the outside in, because obviously I've seen you from one perspective. You have known each other for 2 decades, I guess.
Yeah.
But to see the evolution of yourself, to go from the ring card girl that we all knew to go into to being now the entrepreneur mum,
Yeah.
it's an incredible transformation, and to be the pioneer of that.
Yeah.
Do you still feel a pressure?
I do feel a pressure, but it's a different kind of pressure. It's a pressure to be like a good mom and be there and be present. Like, I've lived this fast life for so long. So I think for me to slow down and actually be present and be the best mom possible, that was a transition in its own. And like going from like the hot chick to hot mama. Like, I'm like, am I still cute? I'm like, I am cute. Like, chill out. Like, you don't have to be like in a bikini, you know, with your ass hanging out all the time to like be hot. So it's a transition.
You hear that, Tyus?
It's a transition.
Boy, do I. I'm going to take this bikini off.
Are you on the mic? The mic's hot.
I think the mic's hot, yeah.
There we go. This is the voice of
Tyus was actually wondering if you had brought bikinis with you, and I was like, bro.
Oh.
Calm
I
down,
have,
Tyus.
1,000 bikinis. You should have let me know.
You know, hey, so I'm hearing you talk about
messed up.
like feeling insecure and everything as like the person that's on the cover of magazines, and I'm so hideous they won't put a camera on me in this room. And I'm like, so how are we supposed to compete? If you're feeling insecure, how's the average person supposed to feel secure with themselves? But you said you've gotten to that point in your life. What have you done to get there?
Oh, I've done a lot of work, mental health, therapy. I've working out, really learning what works for my body. I have a life coach. I have a therapist. I've done a lot of work on myself, and it's not just on the outside. I realized after working so much at a young age on my body that, you know, I need to work on my mind as well. Everything goes together, and if I don't feel good in my mind, I can be the rock hardest body in the world and still feel bad about myself. So
You listed a lot of good things there. Did any particular one have a bigger effect than the others?
I would say 2 of them stand out. I think I did ayahuasca in 2019 because I was living a fast life. I was partying a lot. I was dabbling in drugs, and I dabbled a lot, and I liked it. And I
Little dabble, do you?
Little dabbles. And I realized that because I always wanted to be a mom, if I wanted to be a mom, I needed to take care of my body and not abuse it. And I did ayahuasca, and it instantly made me not want to do drugs.
Wow.
Yeah, so I stopped doing drugs.
So you went
after
to
that.
You did.
Mexico? You
was that?
Did you go to Mexico to do that?
I did it actually in LA twice in a row.
And
yeah.
did you feel when you came, you know, out of that experience like something had changed, or was it progressive whole time?
No, it was probably instantly.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like you just don't want to party anymore? What was the?
It's
the
not
big
that I don't party. I have fun. I drink here and there, and like I still enjoy cocktails. I still enjoy wine, but I don't have this desire to do that all the time. I don't have the energy now either, but back then, like I just, you know, I like to party, and I just knew that if I wanted to be a healthy mom, I needed to change that. And I wasn't even pregnant yet. So I was just thinking ahead. Like I want to be healthy, and I don't like how I feel when I do these drugs. And it helped me a lot.
Was it an
It's
ego
time
death?
for a change.
It's time for a change.
Was it an ego death?
There was an ego death. I gave birth to myself. I rebirthed in my ceremony. I became a new person and more aware and more acceptance of who I am and just more appreciation of who I am and my body. And if you think about it, you're putting all this crap into your body. Like we don't even not eat organic, and I'm over here doing this kind of stuff. No, it's not good. And then another thing that really helped me is EMDR. It's a certain type of therapy for trauma. And yeah, basically just takes you back to the traumatic experience, and you have to relive it. And it's almost like a hypnotic state that you're in, and you face that trauma in that instant, and you learn how to get through it so that when other things happen in your life, it doesn't trigger those things.
Are you okay?
That's kind of why I don't want to do it.
Well,
Because I don't want to.
you got to, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
trust me. So you're talking about the trauma. Is that something you can speak about? You don't have to give us the details.
It's been certain instances with different people, but mostly one person. It's just very verbally abusive, a little bit physically, but mostly verbally and mentally abusive relationship that I was in, and having to like really forgive him and also forgive myself for letting myself be in that situation.
Was that something you were aware of?
I was fully aware, but it was almost like a drug. Like you let go of this drug and then you get another drug and you have this person that's like, I'm going to change. And like, I have a big heart. So I would forgive and forget and things would happen again. And it just became worse and worse.
Cycle.
Yeah.
Bad,
And so it's almost
cycle.
like you have to like cold turkey, like, all right, blocked, delete, you're out of my life. I can't talk to you.
Yeah, you can't be friends. You can't be meeting up. Like, you literally need a complete separation. Don't see each other for a long period of time. And then maybe after that, possibly you could be friends, but sometimes not.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes not.
But did you know that this was causing that suppression?
What do you mean?
Well, when you done, what was the name of the treatment you done?
EMDR?
Yeah. Well, when you went into that, was that something you were aware of before you went in, or was that something you discovered during that treatment?
Yeah, I knew that I had stuff that I needed to face, but I didn't know what it was. So each time I would go in, it would bring up things that I didn't even think about, like when I was like growing up, things that happened to me, and weird feelings that I had with men. But yeah, it was just each time I went in, and this guy's incredible that I work with. He would just pull me in and then pull me out, and then I was in a state of just peace instead of just holding on to that.
The EMDR, that's not the ketamine therapy.
Oh, I've done that too.
But I know you have done that. That's why I was I was like, is that the same thing? But I know you do the ketamine therapy. I wanted to go do it with you, actually. That's one I would try.
Yeah.
Just jump in
seems
at
a little
deep
less.
end.
Well, it seems a little less harsh than ayahuasca.
Yeah,
Well,
have you done?
Plus, I don't want to poop my pants.
You won't poop your pants.
Might piss my pants, throw up. I don't like any of those things. Any
That's
bodily,
why you should do
any
it.
bodily
Exactly.
fluids coming out, I don't like it.
This is coming from the
Really?
the former, yeah,
Well,
from the former Marine
Well.
Corps. Yeah.
wait, that's not true.
Okay. Well, that's exactly why you should do ayahuasca.
Yes.
Because you have to face.
But I want to try
that.
ketamine first because
Okay.
I feel like that would be a little easier of a
Yeah.
transition. Because I've had a lot of positive stories about ayahuasca and a lot of people facing their fears, their traumas, and kind of going over those. But then I've also had people where they're changed in a different kind of a way.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Strauss is always like, I don't want you doing ayahuasca. Like, don't do it. Because he's seen people where they lost their ambition in certain things and stuff like that. Obviously, I think everybody's different, but for me, I guess I'm not ready for the. I'm not ready for
it.
Well, I had a little side story.
But I've also done enough deep diving that I feel like I've faced all my stuff that I needed to.
Absolutely, you haven't.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Most of it.
And I'll tell you why, because it's the stuff that you're unaware of.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like.
Don't
Not
justify
not to be talking about myself, but when my dad died, and like all these things have happened to me, and I learned that I'm Filipino. I learned that I had 2 other brothers. I learned I had this whole self-learning journey about who I am and all these things, and so it has definitely me, bro. I've soul searched from hell back.
Yeah.
So not to get too deep into it, but
This is the pod. But I went and had an experience. It wasn't ayahuasca. I went to Mexico, and I was in a situation where I had to have that ego death, and I had to.
Was this the penis reduction surgery or?
It was just.
You were getting-
It was in the way.
what was
We're
it?
too
My person
girthy.
trunk.
Too
San
girthy.
Pedro or something?
I love how he just took a beautiful conversation and talked about my pee-pee. But no, welcome to our show, right? I ended up connecting with, shout out to Sean Ryan. I've not really talked about this. Sean Ryan has a big show called Vigilance Elite.
Just had Trump.
Vigilance Elite.
Just had Trump. Fantastic
Oh, wow.
interview.
Yeah, and he hit me up, and he knew I was kind of struggling because that was my identity. So everything you're saying, I totally understand.
That's what I mean. You have your identity that's you for so long.
Yeah.
And you're like, what am I now?
And you also have the temptations of like going back
Yeah.
and staying in the grind. So for me, I was undefeated in my weight class. I was going to go up to another weight class, and we found out my son was on the way at the time, and I was like, I spent so much time on the road just like you as the champ every weekend, flying all over the world,
Yeah.
that I wanted to be present. I wanted to see the first walk, first talk, and thankfully I never missed out with my daughter. But I had to kill that guy because I'm around so many people that wanted me, especially the fans that wanted me to get back up there and cheer for me in another weight division. And I said to myself, I just have to do whatever I got to do. And I tried everything that I could handle. you know, that I was aware of to try and work, meditation, self-talk. But I'm an athlete, I'm a competitor, and I'm searching for that next highest climb. And it was always reverting me back to the bodybuilding world. So
did you also have like maybe not a life coach, but somebody in your head really kind of mentally prepping you even for the shows and keeping you like on track? Because like I've seen this, you know, especially now with fighters too, right? It's like when you're in the back, there's a lot of nerves and there's all these things, right? So like having someone coaching you mentally, I feel like is an advantage. And I don't know if that's something you had when you're winning all your championships.
Yeah, my coach has been with me for 20 years. So he knows me inside out. He knows when I'm pretending to be okay and when I'm, you know, not okay.
No, I think it has to be like that.
Yeah.
Because they need to be able to pull something out of you if they need
Absolutely. And even my coach was like saying to me at the time, he's like, if your heart is not in it, you know, we're not doing it. So when we both agreed on that, I had to find some additional help. And speaking to somebody, I'm very weird about that. So Sean Ryan told me about this place, and I had a private house. Went to Mexico and at Ibogaine.
Ibogaine, yeah.
And I was
That's
like
the male version of ayahuasca.
And it was one hell.
Hey, what do you mean? What do you mean the male version of ayahuasca? You're saying there's two different versions?
Yeah, ayahuasca is the female version. Ibogaine is the male version.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
I never knew that. That's the
It
first
was
time I
horrible.
thought it was all you're just taking ayahuasca.
There's
So you're saying there's a female and a
different
male
versions,
version. I
yeah.
didn't know that.
To be honest, ignorance is bliss. I went into this not knowing much at all. I relied on Sean Ryan. And when I got there, obviously they're going to give you the overly educated version of everything.
Did you get sick?
Bad, and the ugly. A lot.
Eee.
But I was purging more than anything else, and nothing's coming out. But they were like, it's
Blowing
good
chunks.
to purge. No, good to purge. It was air. And they were like,
Weird.
this is all your anxiety coming out. This is all your... And I was like, in the time, you have a grey day after it. I don't know if this is the same with ayahuasca, but there's a grey day where they give you a break. You just have to relax and just chill out, watch TV. Nothing violent, because everything's overly sensitive.
Yeah.
Like even watching SpongeBob, it's like, oh, why did he do that to SpongeBob? So you had to find some channels. There's all
Watching
kids-
Cops.
Yeah. So, and then that grey day is when you're kind of like, you know, having second thoughts. It's like, this didn't help at all. But what it did help me with was when I got off the show, when I got, back into the US, they told me that your life is going to change by 5%. So over gradual time, it's compounded. And it definitely helped, because the first thing that I felt was the unnecessary need to get back up and improve myself, because I've already done what I needed to do.
acceptance of yourself. Yeah.
So I hear your
Next
story,
chapter.
and it's and that's the next chapters.
Yeah. It's always hard to do the next chapter, especially when you're used to something for so long, you know?
Yeah.
And that was a big thing for me, is like, okay, I'm not the ring girl anymore. What am I? Oh, my mom. It's okay. Like, you can
You're
slow
in your best
down.
chapter now.
Yeah. It's okay to just chill. Like, I don't know. I had a hard time chilling for a while. And I went back to work 3 months after I had Raiden. And I'm like, I look back and I'm like, I wish I would have given myself a little bit more time. I just put so much pressure on myself. I was like, okay, 6 weeks, going straight back to working out. And in a couple months, I'm going to text Dana and be like, I'm ready to go. Put me in, coach.
Put me in.
Put me in, coach. So that's what I did. But
3
those
months.
that time you don't get back from your little baby, you know, and now he's so big. So yeah, I wish I would have slowed down back then, but I get it now.
It's working at the right time, because being 4 years old, this is like
Yeah.
the time that he's just absorbing everything, right? I think it's
Yeah.
like, what is it, 4 till 11 or 4 till 12? Like, that's
Yeah.
the most your child absorbs, you know, things about you. They're learning and they're molding their brains during that point.
Yeah.
So you're right in the right zone.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the evolution, you know, you're an entrepreneur. You've got into many different things, real estate. Can I tell us what you're into now that you've evolved from Ringo?
Yeah. So right now I'm into investing. I do have a couple properties. One in LA, one in Mexico, and a few here in Vegas. And I love that because I feel like it's just like a safe bet, and I'm more of like a safe bet girl kind of right now. So kind of setting up Raiden's future, and if I were to have any more kids, like their future. And my week is just basically working out, taking care of myself, and I shoot content. I have an OF, you know, hit me up there. No.
What is your OF?
You can follow me here, Doc.
No, we promote.
My OF is it's all my sexy stuff. So basically, FHM, Maxim, Playboy, had a baby and I had an OF. I actually had a fan page that was like an app for a while before OF was OF. And it's the same thing. It's basically like an Instagram feed where I'm talking. I'm able to connect with my fans, but it's more of sexy stuff. And I show more there. I'm not fully nude, just FYI. But yeah, it's more sexy stuff.
She's nude.
And I get to talk about more like sexual things if I want to talk about sexual things.
You give out free subscriptions to friends.
He can't even talk. He's like, see what
happens to me?
Look at him. He's getting all nervous over there. He's like, what is the name on the OF again?
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Flex is coming with an OF too, so
yeah.
we're getting that one primed up for his feet.
The calves, bro.
Perfect.
It's the calves. It's the calves.
Oh, the calves.
Oh man, I've had so many people on their fucking hands and knees taking photos of my calves.
Wow.
Yeah. So
really
nice. Yeah. Well, I
get that. Yeah, I've seen the pictures of the.
Yeah, I've got decent calves, and
I have
I
good
don't
calves
train.
too.
I know
but
you do.
The feet thing, I don't understand the feet thing, but they
It's
love
a big
my
thing.
feet.
Yeah,
they love my feet.
The fans you have, as we mentioned earlier, a great fan base. But let's talk about some of the weird incidents. Being as you the celebrity and everything else, they've got to have had some weird interactions. And tell us some of these stories.
Huh. I do, like, this
Stalkers.
is really creepy. Like, this man, he fully wrote, like, a book. It wasn't that thick, but it was pretty thick. And it was it was a handwritten book to me. And I knew who he was because as soon as I looked at the book and I saw the name, I realized he had been emailing me. And the emails were like we were in a relationship. And I'm like, And as soon as I saw him, I remember it was at a signing for UFC, and I looked at the security guards. I'm like, get him out. It was kind of creepy. It was scary. But for the most part, the fans are really sweet. I've had a couple marriage proposals.
I bet you have.
Which is nice. And yeah, they're very sweet for the most part.
There's such a PG answer. I know there's more in the tank.
The worst I've ever got is like a guy that like wants to like take a picture and he like tries to get sassy and I'm like, don't touch me like that.
Oh yeah.
So that's about it.
I get them guys too.
I can handle.
I feel like you've had a lot of stalkers.
Yes.
Totally.
Whether you're aware of them or not.
Yeah.
There's got to have been a few.
Perks of
Luckily, Dana lets me use his security.
There we go.
Or his like, if I feel uncomfortable, he like does a background check and stuff. Because I've had a couple of those where like they keep emailing you and you're like,
They just don't stop. Weird. Yeah. And you wanting to be nice, maybe you responded once like, oh, no, thank you.
Like,
and then they just never stop. Ever.
Yeah.
That's how we met. You're fucking relentless trying to message me. I was like, okay, I'll be a friend.
One of those big arms, dude.
So we're going a little bit on the fighting side of things. You know, you've been to the greatest fights of all time, let's be honest. You've seen them all. You've been part of it. Which are kind of the fights that stand out for you?
It's always the Nate Diaz fights. Because I just feel like he just puts his heart and soul and he's just like, fuck it, I'm going all in. Oh, yeah. And that's how you want to see a fight. The ones that are very calculated and thought out, like I get it, you guys are athletes and you're doing your thing, but the ones where they're going like brawling, those are the ones you want to see.
Yeah.
And I feel like he always puts on a show. So
you would say he's your favorite fighter?
He's my favorite fighter, yeah.
How hard is it for you to watch somebody that you become friends with? We asked this to Megan.
Yeah.
How hard is it for you to watch as you being in your job, your role, and see a friend losing?
Yeah, that sucks, especially when you get to know them or they like have family and kids and then the kids are sitting there. You're like, oh man, no. Yeah. It's hard, but they always rebound from it. They're athletes, so they know. And luckily, we've never had like a serious problem.
Yeah.
No.
Well, the other thing that you and I have in common is the fact that we have viral memes and GIFs that go around the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I've seen some of them.
Oh, boy.
The one that always stands out to me is the Alistair Overeem when you.
Oh, yeah.
So was that just?
Was that real?
Was that real? Yeah. There we go. Look.
I mean,
there
was
it is.
real.
That's not even her in the background. I don't know what that photo is, but
That is her.
she should be there somewhere. I know we got a clip of her with the mouth open or whatever.
Well, I'm Latina, so I'm very dramatic, and like I knew that everyone was talking about him and how he was so large and in charge. So I was just being very dramatic.
Yeah,
but he's not my type.
My one is of a girl biting her lip. Oh, there we go. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That's me back in the day.
Oh, cool.
That's a viral meme
Biting
that keeps on
your
keeping going. Yeah, and it's where the hand press.
The old lip bite.
Yeah, but that's all a funny one. But going back to the Alistair thing, you know, once you had that kind of viral moment, are you now aware of the cameras are going to look at you every time?
Yeah, now you're aware. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, don't smile
Don't
too
look.
hard.
Don't
You
look.
don't want people to think you're in love with them. But
Do you mess with the cameras though? You know they're watching, so you kind of mess with them a little bit too.
no, not
No?
really. No.
No, well,
Sorry.
well, sorry.
I just do my job, J Rock.
J-Rock had a lot of follow-up questions, and now that you just squashed them.
Sorry. No, I don't really. I just like do my little thing with Bruce Buffer. We have our little handshake and stuff,
Oh,
but nothing too crazy.
The buff.
Apparently,
like us?
I'm in love with Bruce Buffer too. So
I mean, who isn't
I'm his
in love with
girlfriend. So
we all love
Is
that.
that is that a rumor? Is that a
yeah.
That's a, it's a legit rumor.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, we all love Buff.
Yeah, I love
Let's be honest, he's incredible.
It suits.
But in kind of landing this plane, what we at there, Tyus?
52 minutes.
Ah, look at us. We're getting so professional.
We are. We
We're-
are
we're-
professional.
We're landing this plane. We talked about your journey in fitness, and I seen in doing my research, I seen a podcast you were talking about. You hadn't ate steak.
I
for
had an egg
sev-
steak.
Yeah, that's right. On the podcast, you said, "Oh, I just ate steak for the first time in several months," and I was
Thank
blown
God.
away by this. You follow a certain. I know you guys were talking off camera about certain diets that you follow throughout the years. I'd love to speak to you about that. Obviously, being in the limelight, you know, being body conscious and everything else. Was there a diet that you were following back then? Because obviously, we're a big fitness podcast.
Yeah, I've never had a diet, but I do try to just eat clean, eggs, turkey, all that. I actually have never
Real
had,
food.
I've never had a steak in my life.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
So it
I-
wasn't you hadn't.
Hold on.
I haven't.
Hold on.
I've had a bite of a steak,
That's
but
what I heard.
I've never ate.
I've seen you at Barry's.
Yeah, I always have fish and vegetables and a starch.
Is that
Baked
because
potato.
you don't? So
Okay, so I was
what
raised.
took you to not?
I was
Take
raised on
steak.
carne
I don't
asada. I was raised on carne asada tacos, and for some reason, I think it might be my blood type. I'm grossed out by most meat. So if I do eat meat, it has to be like meatballs or ground beef. So it's more of like a texture thing for me, I think. I've definitely ate more meat this year. I like how I feel better when I eat meat, but I just never had a steak.
Wow.
And if I had a steak, I'd be like, I need it well done. And I feel like everyone looks at me weird if I say well done, because you're not supposed to eat it like that. But I can't see blood and stuff in my food.
You know, Barry's is going to now be all over this podcast because all the guys train you, so they'll be like,
I love berries.
Oh, who does?
Lobster mac,
Oh,
the fish
so
there,
good.
incredible.
favorite.
Tater tots. Oh my god. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to the job. But how has your fitness routines now changed now that you're a mum and balancing the new lifestyle?
A mum.
A mum.
Mum.
So yeah, before Raiden, I was doing hot classes, hot yoga, hot Pilates, boot camps, a lot of high intensity training type stuff, the fast paced stuff with low weights. And this year I came to love weight training, and I've definitely seen it change my body. So it becomes like an addiction in itself. You're like, oh, I want to go to the gym. So I love it, and I do 1 or 2 different body parts a week, and then I throw in yoga if like I'm sore or a hot class. I do F45 sometimes too. I like
I've seen you do
those
that.
classes.
I like F45.
They're fun. They're just, go and get it done.
You're lifting weights though. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know if
Yeah.
you've done F45,
No.
but they're real sessions, and you're
Yeah.
actually doing real lifts,
Yeah.
and they make it pretty easy.
You just got to
for
be
you.
careful with your form and stuff, because
Yeah.
they're going like pretty fast in those classes. But the weight training is where it's at. I'm getting older. You got to build muscle, or else it just all goes downhill.
It really does. After you're 40, I think they say you lose 10% or 5% of your muscle every year after that, or something
Great.
like that. But I definitely think that that's a great point, for all the ladies out there. Like, you need weight training, you need
Yeah.
weight lifting, you need to be doing strength training a couple days a week.
Yeah.
it's the most beneficial for you. I mean, Flex, you know a little bit about this.
A little bit.
A
Little
bit.
something.
A little bit.
Right? But I think that, you know, a lot of women approach fitness sometimes differently, but strength training is definitely a core part of what you need to be doing.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of weight for you to actually like become
Jacked.
masculine.
Jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
So-
is
It does.
misconception.
Yeah.
That especially, you know, 10 years.
I hate when people say that.
Yeah.
You probably, I mean,
I get all-
you
well,
get it all the
I
time.
will.
But like where people are like, you know, like, you know, I don't want to get all jacked. And I'm like, don't worry, you never will.
Never will. You never will. You want. You have
Yeah.
to eat
I think
so
Arnold,
much.
I think Arnold said it, and he was like, don't worry, you never will.
Yeah.
He's talking to a guy though. My gosh.
Exactly.
But with the weight training side of things now, and obviously this is new part of your life. Well, it's a part of your life.
Yeah.
Would you say that you wish you knew this in the past to incorporate weights more? Would you say that?
I think I did know this. So I was a gym girly at first, and I would do my own routine, and that was like my thing for a while, especially my younger years. And then I just kind of got bored, and I started doing all the fast paced like kickboxing and stuff like that. And it was easy, and it maintained like my weight, and like I was thin and fit, so it was good for a while. But then after having a kid and stuff, I'm like, okay, I need to like step it up a little and figure out my body now at this age and this weight, and yeah, it works better for me now.
She trained. Well, I can't say the gym she trains in because I don't want people fucking surrounding her. But she trains in a gym in Las Vegas, which is a great
And
gym.
I'll be back here a couple
But
times.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
She's gonna be jacked if you came here.
She's going to the,
I want to be jacked. I want
Yeah.
to see significant difference in my body.
You look
It'd be cool.
fantastic. I just want to selfishly get you here. Right?
I'll be here for sure.
And it was the first time for you to see the gym today, which
Yeah,
is
it's
you
beautiful.
should come work
privilege
out
to
with
show
us.
around.
I will.
Yeah.
Leg day.
Ah, I like that.
I've actually never done a leg day with Flex.
Oh, really?
It's a little scary.
It looks. Yeah.
It's a little
it's probably
scary. You should see him in there.
Oh,
He's a
friendship.
different guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I go into the gym.
He's a different guy in there. He's a different guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the switch. That's
Yep.
it'd be like walking into somebody when they're working. It'd be like me coming up to you as you're going to have a just about to walk out, or just your UFC mindset is on, and I'm going to have a conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
When I was training for the Mr. Olympia, I set up a gym this size
Yeah.
just for myself
Oh,
in Boca
wow.
Raton. That was my investment into myself.
That's
for me to win and
amazing.
defend, and it sounds like me gloating, but honestly, I had to do it for me to win and defend, because when I was training in public gyms, I was flex,
Yeah. People
And-
are
and I'm
messing
in-
with you. Yeah.
in and out.
Want a
Somebody
picture.
so
Yeah.
in and
You're
out.
like on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
know?
And it's hard when you're a champion or you're trying to chase something to have a mindset walking into the gym and remain that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people can, they could be a dick. That was me. My fans or everything. So I would stop everything, talk, and then I'm like, okay, where was I? Okay,
Yeah. And then you feel bad.
Yeah.
I can't do that either.
Yeah.
So I just put my hat on and go to the gym.
Keep the earphones in.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm busy.
I actually live in my heart, so I'm very recognizable. Today I done my hair because of you.
Oh, nice. Thank
Yeah.
you for that.
You get stopped a lot at the gym? Like guys are hitting on you or?
Not really, actually. I don't know if I feel like they
Probably
think they're
scared of you.
not supposed to say hi to me.
Yeah.
But-
Probably scared of you a little bit too.
Maybe it's the bodyguards that follow you around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, J-Rock, is there anything you want to add on to? Some old stories? Or are you good to go?
No. I just want to say, you know, it's obviously it's great to see your transition in this new chapter, as you said. I think you haven't written your best stuff yet, so it's great to see it, and I'm really glad you came and talked to us today.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming in and shooting the shit to us. It's just there's two guys and a hot chick talking about random stuff from ayahuasca to everything else and all above.
Indeed, bodily fluids, we got it all.
Oh my God,
We got
yeah.
it all. We got it all. But
Shoot.
yeah, but without kind of not mentioning what you've achieved, it's truly remarkable to read the accomplishments and do my research.
Thank you.
for this show. You've done so much, all stemming from your ring card girls, from TV to watching you on overhauling.
Yeah, that
that was
was fun.
great.
That was a great moment in my life.
Yeah, and you rocked that. We need to
Thank
get you
you.
back on that.
That would be fun.
By the way, not to prolong this any longer, but
Uh-huh.
Are you going to move into doing more TV stuff?
Yeah, I want to. Trying to work on a concept with UFC right now where I'm hosting more, and it might just be like stories or just simple little clips, but we're working on that right now.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a great
Yeah.
path.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because you're so synonymous with the UFC already. It's like, you know, that's like a great step to stay involved with them and also let your personality out more, you know?
Yeah, thank you.
But overhauling was a completely different demographic, right?
Oh yeah, I was
And-
going in. It was kind of like the UFC. I'm like going in not knowing anything about UFC, and then I'm going in not knowing anything about cars. But I learned a lot, and I had so much fun. It was the first hosting gig that I got that was on actual TV, and I had worked a lot for free before then. I was like, I gotta practice. So I did a lot of free work for UFC. I remember like staying after the weigh-ins, and I would be on teleprompter doing stuff for online, and I would be there till like midnight and be like, why am I doing this? But now I know I was doing it because I needed that practice, I need that help and that confidence. So
See, that's a very interesting point where a lot of people just see this shot to stardom, and they all kind of read how much you've made, because obviously these things made, whether it's true or not, but it's all out there. And then a lot of people don't realize just how much sweat equity you've had to do, all the unseen stuff that all plays a massive part in to where you've got right now. But all these unseen hours doing, like you mentioned, all the free UFC stuff,
Yeah.
you know, it's made you become the global star, because a lot of girls will say, sorry, I can't, or no problem. But doing all this stuff and being a true company girl, you know, for the UFC has made you, again, not only known in the UFC circles, but far outside. So
Thank you.
I just want to say and take this opportunity to say thank you so much for
thank you.
all the years of nearly 2 decades. 2 decades.
2 decades, man.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, fucking, how many fights? is
18
that?
years went by fast, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well,
Crazy.
Yeah, when I look back to it, it has. But in terms of accomplishments and what you've done, TV shows, movies, front covers,
you.
I mean, magazines, things that you wanted to be on when you were a kid, you've ticked so many boxes. And as J-Rock said, I'm very excited
Thank
to
you.
see the new endeavors of what is going to be
Thank you.
coming out from yourself. So,
Yeah, and we'll see you in here getting buff.
yes.
Yes.
So,
I will
this is
be-
Flex,
Rock.
Arianny Celeste. We are out.